and they go to work on a brand new text. And what do we call that text today? We call that the Geneva Bible.
Well, it says right on there, it says someone has written here, Family Bible.
That's right. That's what it truly was, the very first family Bible.
Right.
What we know today as the Textus Receptus. It will go to produce what we know as the very first homeschool Bible, the Geneva Bible.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so this is the book that sails over on the Mayflower.
Gotcha.
That's the Bible that settles Jamestown.
Mm-hmm.
After Bloody Mary's terror, she had a sister. Of course, we know her name as Queen Elizabeth. To win the hearts of the people, she gave us the Bishop's Bible. This was done by bishops, done by pastors.
But they're building upon the work of the Geneva Bible.
They just wanted something that was a little bit more authoritative.
Right.
This comes from people you can
Experts.
trust. Hebrew, Greek experts, but truthfully, it never settles with the people. It was a glorious work. She was
Somehow it just didn't catch on.
It just never
Maybe
caught on.
God just knew that something was better was coming down the pike.
And then, of course, she didn't have a spouse, no kids. So who would take the throne? Her cousin from Scotland, of course, we know him as King James. And that big, tall Bible that you see down there closest to you, that's the first edition of the King James Bible. And then a year later, he allowed the folks to buy one in a bookstore. And you're holding the very first King James New Testament.
Wow. Then when we get to 1603, we have King James becoming king. King James VI of Scotland. He became the king, and it was said unto him that a new translation should be brought forth of the scriptures. And the reason why is that you got a lot of people using the Geneva Bible, but then they'd go to church and it's the bishop's Bibles. There were two main versions, and both of them had issues. The Geneva Bible had some issues, the bishop's Bible had some issues. And so they said, let's just take the time to do it right. They got the best scholars in the land together, and they said, we're not trying to replace a bad version. We're going from good to better to best here. I mean, these are good translations. The Geneva Bible is good. The Bishop's Bible is good. We're just going to perfect it and get it just dialed in. So from 1604 to 1610, the KJV was translated by 54 of the greatest scholars that existed at that time. Just to give you one example, one guy, Lancelot Andrews, was an expert in Latin, Greek, Hebrew, Chaldean, Syriac, Arabic, and he also spoke 15 modern languages. That's one guy out of the 54 people that translated the King James Bible over the course of 7 years.
So there were those who were Arabic scholars, there were those who were Greek.
Here. I mean, these are good translations. The Geneva Bible is good. The Bishop's Bible is good. We're just going to perfect it and get it just dialed in. That's one guy out of the 54 people that translated the King James Bible over the course of 7 years.
In verse 6, it says, the words of the Lord are pure words, as silver tried in a furnace of earth, purified 7 times. Thou shalt keep them, O Lord, thou shalt preserve them from this generation forever. And there was a 7-step process going through the Receptus line that got to what we have. And then ultimately there was a 7-step process in English, which landed right there in your lap as a King James Bible. And I guess all that being said is that St. Patrick had nothing to do with the Roman Catholic Bibles.
Approved 54 scholars to work on the translation. King James approved 54 scholars to work on the translation, and 47 worked in 6 groups at 3 locations for 7 years.